Hello and welcome to yet another session of science. In today's edition, we are going to study our space. When you wake up at night, especially on a clear day, you realize that there is the moon and several other blinking bodies. We may not reach them, but we can see them from far. We want to see, apart from the moon and the blinking bodies, if there are any other objects inside or in the space. Now, scientists have managed to go into space and get more information about it. The person who studies the space or studies the system in the space is called an astronomer. So an astronomer studies astronomy. So what do they find out, or what have they found out during their study of the space? They realized that during the day, there is the sun. So the only heavenly body that can be seen during the day is the sun. And they wondered why at night they see several bodies, while during the day there is only one. And while up in space, they came to realize that the sun may be probably the closest foreign body or heavenly body to the earth. And because it produces a lot of light, its light bars the lights from the other foreign bodies from reaching us during the day. That is why at night, when there is no sunlight, we on earth are able to see other blinking foreign bodies in the atmosphere. The sun, therefore, produces heat and light, and it is that light which prevents us from seeing the other heavenly bodies during the day. Remember, the sun, according to their study, is at the center of the system that we are talking about. The sun, again, of all the bodies we are going to talk about, is the largest and is said to be luminous, meaning it produces its own light. That, therefore, makes it become a star. Stars produce their own lights. So the sun at this end is the center of the system that we are studying. It is very hot. Actually, astronomers say the sun can be as hot as 20 million degrees Celsius in summer. Very hot. And that is why it is made up of hot, glowing gases. Anything that gets closer to the sun changes to gas because of the high intensity of heat. Because of its size, all the other foreign bodies in the sky revolve around it. It pulls them towards it because it is big and has the high amount of gravitational pull. Remember, they said that the sun does not move. It pulls the other foreign bodies around it. Like I mentioned initially, also in the sky is the moon. Our earth has only one moon. They came to realize that the moon goes around the earth in anti-clockwise direction. Our earth revolves revolves round the sun in the clockwise direction, but the moon goes round our earth in the anti-clockwise direction. So the moon becomes the earth's satellite. A satellite of a body is a body that goes round it. Because the moon goes round the earth, therefore the moon becomes the earth's satellite. The moon does not produce its own light. They came to realize, however, that it gets its light from the sun. It is therefore a reflector. It is non-luminous. Do you remember what I told you a luminous body is? Very good. A luminous body produces its own light. And an example that we have seen is the sun, which provides light to its satellite, the moon, by reflection. Also in space are smaller foreign bodies, which we are going to study. First is Mercury. Mercury is this that is closest to the sun. Mercury is a foreign body that also goes around the sun in clockwise direction. It takes 88 days to revolve the sun once. 88 days. It is not visible because of its size. It's so small that the light from the sun does not allow us to see it. It is the second from our earth. That means when you come from the sun, you reach Mercury, then another foreign body before earth. Mercury, like I've said, is the smallest and takes 88 days to go around the sun. It's very hot and does not have life. There is no oxygen in it. No life can be contained or can be sustained in Mercury because it receives light and heat at very high intensity. Close after Mercury is Venus, another heavenly body that goes round the sun in 225 days once. To revolve round the sun, Venus takes 225 days. It is brighter than Mercury, though slightly away from the sun compared to Mercury. Why do you think Mercury could be brighter? Mercury is brighter because it receives more light from the sun, but Venus is the brightest because it is bigger than Mercury in size. So it receives and reflects more light from the sun than Mercury. So it is right to say that Mercury is smaller than Venus, but Venus is the brightest. Venus can be seen very early in the morning when the sun is not very bright, and can also be seen very late in the evening when the sun sinks, when the light from the sun is dull. Because of its appearance very early in the morning and very late in the evening, it is therefore called a morning or an evening star. Remember, Venus is not a star, because I told you stars produce their own lights. But Venus qualifies to be called an evening or a morning star because it twinkles. It is so bright in the morning and very bright in the evening when the sun is down. Again, why is Venus the hottest? I know why it is the brightest. It is the brightest because it is bigger than Mercury, thus reflects more light than Mercury. But why is it the hottest? Venus is the hottest because it contains the greatest component of carbon dioxide. It is highly concentrated with carbon dioxide, which is dense, which is heavier than the normal air, and that increases the pressure, therefore increasing its temperature. Just like Mercury, Venus is also found before the Earth when you come from the Sun. Now, the two planets or the two bodies that you find before you reach the Earth are called inner planets. That is Mercury and Venus. They are called inner planets because they are found inside the orbit of the Earth. They are between the Sun and the Earth. Then our Earth takes 365 days, and the only heavenly body with life. Why do you think our Earth has life? Why do you think our Earth has animals? Why do you think we have plants growing on Earth? It is because it is on Earth that we have oxygen. So of all the heavenly bodies we are going to study, only Earth has oxygen. Only Earth has life. Again, apart from Venus and Mercury, our Earth is the first one with a moon, and it has only one moon, which goes round it in 28 days. After our Earth, next is Mars. Mars takes 687 days to revolve round the Sun once. Scientists have been able to get to the Mars as a planet, and they discovered that it has two moons, and the surface of its atmosphere or the ground is red. Mars contains red soil. It is the closest heavenly body to our Earth in the outer scale. It's also known as the red planet because its red soil reflects red light from the space to our Earth. It's not too hot and not too cold because the temperature or the heat reaching it from the Sun is just almost at the same distance as the heat reaching our Earth. Therefore, it can support life. But there is no life in it because it does not have oxygen. After Mars is the biggest, the largest, with 16 moons, Jupiter. It has rings around it. It has circular rings around it that we may not see unless you use very powerful weather instruments. Remember, the faint rings cannot be seen because they don't reflect light. They are not colored. It has the greatest force of gravitational pull from the Sun because of its massive size. It's so big that one of its moons is almost the size of the Earth. Very big indeed. Like I said, it has 16 moons and is found on the outer space of our Earth and takes very long time to go around the Sun. After Jupiter is the second largest planet called Saturn. Saturn is said to be the most beautiful one when observed from our Earth. What makes Saturn beautiful? Saturn, just like Jupiter, has rings. Actually, 3 beautiful rings. These rings are colored. and they reflect the beautiful colors to our Earth. That is why scientists on Earth call it the beautiful planet. It has about 18 moons and is said to be having the greatest number of moons in the sky. All these moons go around it in the anti-clockwise direction. Next, or the seventh one, is the outer planet, also with 15 moons, the lightest planet in space. Light in the sense that it is largely made up of the lightest gases, or the lightest gas called methane. Uranus is the only planet that goes around the sun in the opposite direction. All the other planets, like we shall see, revolve around the Earth in the clockwise direction, except Uranus, that revolves in the anti-clockwise direction. Remember, Jupiter has 16, Saturn 18, and Uranus 15 moons. All these moons go around them, and therefore they are their satellites. When we started, remember I told you that satellites of a heavenly body goes around that heavenly body. Like our Earth has only one satellite that goes around it. Number 8 has 8 moons and is also found after our Earth. Therefore, is also called an outer planet. That is Neptune. This is Neptune with 8 moons, followed by the farthest one from us. It is the farthest and appears to be the smallest, but no, Mercury is the smallest. Mercury may look bigger because it is the closest one to the sun, but this one is the farthest, the coldest, and the darkest. It is cold because the light reaching it, or the heat reaching it, is faint. It is dark because the light reaching it is also faint. It is also cold such that in winter its temperature can get up to minus 230 degrees Celsius. Very cold. That cannot support life. It has completely no moon, and it takes the longest time to go around the sun. It takes 248 years. 248 years. The other 8 planets may have oval orbits, but Pluto has an elliptical orbit. As you can see in that diagram, it has an elliptical orbit that is not round and is not oval. In between Mars and Jupiter, there are foreign bodies that are numerous, that are small, and keep rotating and revolving in between the orbits of Mars and Jupiter. They are held in between the 2 planets by the force of gravity of the 2 planets. They are in between 1,500 and 1,800 in number. They are not planets, but are minor planets because they also get their heat and light from the sun. They can also produce their own light by friction. As they move in space, they cause friction, and friction causes heat. Therefore, they can cause or create their own heat. Remember, we have said we only have 2 inner planets. Do you remember? Name them. Very good. That is Mercury and Venus. Which of the 9 bodies did we say is the hottest? Good. Venus. And which is the smallest? Very good. Mercury. Which one did we say is the farthest? Pluto. Very good. Remember we said that all planets revolve around the sun. They are pulled towards the sun, which gives them light. So planets don't produce their own lights. They reflect. They are non-luminous. Until next time, we have come to the end of our lesson today. Keep going into space, keep researching around the planets, and keep finding more about them. Till then, bye-bye.